Good morning, Texans. Welcome to the University of Texas Exercise Channel. Today we're going to talk about adaptations to the heart through different types of training. We have two reporters standing by to interview athletes on campus. Also, we have two experts to help us to explain those adaptations. Let's switch over to the reporter on the track.
Hey. I see you're running on the track here. What benefits are you trying to get from that?
Well, I'm trying to increase this thing I read about on the internet. It's called the VO2 max, and supposedly it's correlated to increased performance in endurance athletes.
Yeah, that's correct. That's a great idea. How do you think you're going to adapt and get those achievements?
So according to the Fick equation, VO2 is correlated to cardiac output times the arteriovenous oxygen difference. So I'm just trying to increase the amount of blood and the amount of oxygen delivered to my tissues, right?
Yeah, that's correct. The arteriovenous oxygen difference is basically the amount of oxygen extracted by the muscles during activity, and the cardiac output is defined as the amount of blood pumped through the heart per minute. So how do you think your heart is going to make these adaptations?
Well, it's just getting bigger and stronger, right?
Well, not exactly, but I'm no expert, so let's bring this back to our exercise physiologist who will go into greater detail. Hi there, I'm Dr. Mannix, and I'm here to clear up confusion about eccentric hypertrophy. Here we have the right side of the heart and the left side here. Blood flows from the right side of the heart to the lungs where it picks up oxygen and returns directly to the left atria and through to the left ventricle. This is the pumping mechanism of the heart and is connected to the aorta. Blood ejected from the left side of the heart is pushed through the entire body and carries oxygen that feeds all the working tissue. Blood fills the ventricle between each heartbeat, and the blood ejected every heartbeat is called the stroke volume. There are three factors that affect stroke volume: preload, afterload, and contractility. Preload is the initial stretching of the left ventricular walls at the end of filling. Contractility is the inherent strength of the heart's contraction during systole, and afterload is the force that the left ventricle must overcome to eject blood. Multiplying the stroke volume by the heart rate will give the cardiac output. The primary adaptation in eccentric hypertrophy is to increase the size of the left ventricular cavity. After long-term endurance training, the athlete's blood volume increases and the constant stretching causes the heart to enlarge the cavity to accommodate the additional blood. The increased amount of blood filling the left ventricle causes a stretch reflex that increases the contractility to expel a larger fraction of blood per heartbeat, thus increasing stroke volume, and over time this mechanism decreases the afterload.
So an endurance athlete is just better at delivering blood than her less fit counterpart?
Well, I've just listed one of the adaptations that endurance runners make in response to exercise. Some others include increasing plasma, increasing your hemoglobin for O2 carrying capacity, increasing your capillary and mitochondrial density, and there are plenty other adaptations that endurance runners achieve. Thank you, Dr. Mannix. Now back to our anchor.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you for the information. Now let's turn over to the reporter in the Fitness Institute.
Here we are at the Fitness Institute of Texas. Let's go check it out. Hey, I see you working out. What are you working on?
Yeah, spring break's coming up, so I'm working on curls for the girls.
Well, I know you care a lot about your biceps, but do you think your heart's making any adaptations as well?
Well, I'd assume it's just getting bigger like everything else.
Well, lucky for you, we have Dr. Rose standing by in the lab to explain it. Thank you. So whether athletes care about it or not, resistance training actually does affect the athlete's heart, but it doesn't increase the preload like it does in the endurance athlete. So what actually is at play?
We need to revisit the factors that affect stroke volume. For weight training athletes, myocardial contractility is the critical factor. During resistance training, blood pressure can go up to 400 millimeters of mercury, which causes high stress on the left ventricular wall. Repeated wall stress stimulates replication of parallel myocardial sarcomeres, which is correlated to peak force. Due to this mechanism, resistance athletes get ventricular hypertrophy by thickening their ventricular wall rather than increase the size of the cavity. More muscle fibers enable the heart to contract with greater force and results in a higher stroke volume and higher cardiac output.
Thank you to our reporters and experts. That is all for today's segment of heart adaptations. Come join us next week. Until then, keep Austin weird.